Well, folks, another known and trusted source is telling me that the Nikon ZF will have a stacked sensor. But has this information been validated? Well, stick around after this short break for all the details. But first, please do me a favor. Follow me on X, formerly known as Twitter, but most importantly, please subscribe to this channel. It doesn't cost you anything, helps get this channel noticed, and keeps you up to date on the latest camera gear, news, and rumors. The Nikon ZF continues to be the most interesting and contradicting camera ever, at least according to the rumors. Sony Alpha rumors and Nikon rumors have been at odds as to when it's coming out and the capabilities it will have. And it's not just Sony Alpha rumors and Nikon rumors. We've got two sources that are also giving contradictory information. Let's first address the sensor type. According to information I received yesterday from a known and trustworthy source, he told me that the Nikon ZF is going to have a stacked sensor. That's right, a stacked sensor. Now, he didn't mention the resolution, he didn't mention any other information about the camera, but a stacked sensor, that would be huge if this camera does cost $1,999. A stacked sensor is unheard of. Previously, a stacked sensor under $4,000 was unheard of until Nikon came out with the Nikon Z8. However, this is a big however. While I trust this source and it is a known source to me, the source told me and was quite clear that the information hasn't been validated. And I wish I could provide you with more information than I have, but his source is somebody in the line of communication that should know better. It's not from Nikon themselves, but I would expect that this person would know better. This isn't the first source to suggest a stacked sensor. Sony Alpha Rumors was the first to suggest this. However, Nikon Rumor says this isn't true, suggesting that it might come with a 24 megapixel sensor instead. And just a few days ago, another known source, another trusted known source, told me that it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to put a stacked sensor in a $2,000 camera. Now, there is the cost, and we don't know what Nikon's costs are, but we also don't know the capabilities in this camera and how it could potentially cannibalize the Nikon Z8. I mean, after all, the Nikon Z8, but for a few features, is essentially the same camera as the Nikon Z9. But for a camera that costs $1,999, would that customer segment actually benefit from the ability to move a whole lot more information, from better low light performance, better dynamic range? Does it make sense to actually put a stacked sensor in this camera? What about putting in a backside illuminated sensor? I mean, to me, that would make a little bit more sense. It allows for better dynamic range and better low light performance. But the one thing that's striking me here, and maybe you're picking up on this too, is we're getting so much information coming out from Nikon rumors, Sony Alpha rumors. I'm now getting multiple sources telling me information about this camera that are contradictory. And what that's essentially doing is it's creating hype. It's dominating the news cycle. So for the past couple of weeks, which has been dominating the news cycle when it comes to camera news? Well, it's the Nikon ZF. Stacked sensor, non-stacked sensor. It's going to be $19.99 with a stacked sensor or $19.99 without a stacked sensor. It's going to be 45.7 megapixels or it's going to be 24 megapixels. And you see, the winner here is actually Nikon, because the more we talk about this, the more we hype it up, the more people are aware of the camera and the more people that will likely pre-order it. But there's a big if here. There's a big caveat, and that is if the camera is impressive enough. If this camera impresses, then yes, it will sell a lot. And this hype, this domination of the news cycle is paying off. So while I was talking to my source, I also asked about the date. Now, the previous source had told me that it's coming very soon. Sony Alpha Rumors says it's also coming very soon. Only Nikon Rumors is saying that it could be sometime this month or even in September. And Nikon Rumors has said while there is going to be some sort of event or announcement next week, it's not going to be product related. We are getting so much crazy information here. So I asked my source and he said, look, I don't have any information on when it's going to be announced, but we do get the sense that this camera is coming out very soon, whether it's next week, the following week, the week after, or the second week of September. We can already see that it is dominating the news cycle. It's taking over. We're not hearing anything about Canon. We're not hearing about anything from Sony. And actually, if you stay tuned, I do have a video coming out on Sony very shortly, and I'll have some new information for you there. But Nikon ZF is simply dominating the news cycle. I also found this on YouTube, a Chinese video talking about the Nikon ZF, among other things. And they also indicated that it's rumored to have a 45.7 megapixel sensor. Now, they don't indicate if it's going to be a 45.7 megapixel sensor found in the Nikon Z7 Mark II, or the stacked full-frame sensor at 45 megapixels found in the Nikon Z8. Although they do say that the Nikon ZF will be better, faster, and cheaper. Better, faster, and cheaper than what? Well, I didn't quite figure that out. My Mandarin isn't the best. But what is interesting to me here is that they're kind of doubling down. Everybody seems to be talking, except for Nikon Rumors, about 45.7 megapixels. But even Nikon Rumors had mentioned 45.7 previously. And we've got a couple of options here. Most likely for economies of scale, what Nikon's going to do is take the Nikon Z7 Mark II sensor and put it in the Nikon ZF, if it's going to be 45.7 megapixels. And of course, if it comes from the Nikon Z8, it's going to be stacked. It's just absolutely crazy. But one thing this is doing is this is dominating the news cycle. All eyes are on the Nikon ZF. And while I think a stacked sensor doesn't make sense at this price point, camera companies have surprised us before. The Canon EOS R5 in 2020 surprised everyone with 8K RAW, IBIS, uncropped video, a 45 megapixel sensor, 20 frames per second lossless RAW, electronic, and CF Express Type B storage. If Nikon did manage to put a stacked sensor in the Nikon ZF for $1999, regardless of the resolution, it would definitely disrupt the market, just like the Canon EOS R5 disrupted the market back in 2020. But just because Canon disrupted the market in 2020, with the Canon EOS R5 destroying all expectations for what that camera would be, it doesn't mean that Nikon is planning the same with the ZF. However, I want to bring about 2 points. If we go back in time, there's several things that Nikon has done that's really surprised people. When they announced and released the Nikon Z9, their full-frame mirrorless flagship camera, they did so for a price point of $1,000 less than the competition. And everybody was shocked because it's a solid camera. Why discount it? What are they trying to do? Are they trying to disrupt the market? And then, of course, with the Nikon Z8, they essentially took the exact same camera, the Nikon Z9, and put the capabilities into a smaller body for around $1,500 less. And yes, the Nikon Z8 is still faster. It has dual CF Express Type B card slots. It's able to, it's for the best of the best, or the people that want the best of the best, giving you that fastest possible speed, continuous frames per second, from the sensor to the image processor to the storage. But for everybody else, $39.99 for the Nikon Z8 for all the same capabilities as the Nikon Z9, that's got people's attention. So could, well, Nikon be getting ready to do the same thing with the Nikon ZF? I don't know. And it's certainly possible. I wish I had some sort of oracle here, and despite having multiple sources, trusted sources telling me things, it's all conjecture at this point because they're contradicting each other, and none of them have been able to tell me that it's been verified. And once I get verifiable information, I'll let you know. And that's why for much of this video, I've had smart pre-order links here. Why are they available when we can't pre-order the camera when it hasn't even been announced? Well, one thing we're getting a sense for with this camera is that there's going to be multiple SKU options available. The Nikon ZF body alone, the Nikon ZF with a 40mm kit lens, as well as some other kit lenses, perhaps zoom lenses as well. And then, of course, Adorama and B&H will have their own kit lens or kit packages with camera bags, storage, and all that sort of stuff. So by using these smart links, copy them, put them in your browser, and what happens is on the day of announcement, you're going to have the links that are going to show you every single pre-order link or pre-order option available at Adorama and B&H. And what that's going to do is save you very valuable time and get you further into the queue so that you can get your camera quicker than anybody else. But that's it for now. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and also choose all notifications. It really helps this channel get noticed, and it's very much appreciated. And if you want to stay up to date on all the minor news and rumors, all those news stories that aren't quite big enough to have their own separate video or pricing information, then go ahead and follow me on Twitter, I can't even get it straight, on X, formerly known as Twitter, so that way you can stay up to date on all the major and minor news and rumors. And one other thing, if you could do me a favor, if you're planning on buying any camera gear, whether it be camera, lenses, storage cards, whatever it is, and you're planning on purchasing from B&H and Adorama, please use my links down below because I get anywhere from 2 to 12% back, and it really goes back to supporting this channel. And if you're looking at purchasing gear within Canada, I highly recommend contacting Patrick at Downtown Camera. I have his contact information in the description down below. And I can tell you this, you give Patrick a call, you're not going to be disappointed. don't be surprised if he knocks a little bit of something off the top. Just make sure you mention my name. But that's it for now. Thank you so much for watching. Have yourself a great weekend, and we'll see you again soon.